welcome back to Creative Chat Cafe. I am Zan.
Hello, I'm Sandra Firestein, and we are your hosts on today's episode of Creative Chat Cafe. We're a weekly business talk show hangout for lifestyle entrepreneurs who are looking to soar into a business and life that pays it forward.
So today on the show, we're actually having a topic about leverage green drinks, green towns, live green to grow the green economy. So yes, this entire month of April, I had mentioned earlier that we are doing a theme on green up your business, green up your mindset, and green up the environment. So this episode is all about leveraging green drinks. You're probably wondering, like, we're having fun, we're having green drinks, this is pretty cool, right? So not really what you're thinking about, but green towns and living green. And if you're new, here's our hashtag CCC, time to hang out, and hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. And if you're tweeting, our Twitter handle is @CChatCafe, and a special hashtag for the Green Biz theme that we're going with is hashtag GreenBiz. So, take time out and hang out with us today because we're going to have a great episode just thinking about how we as business folks, entrepreneurs out there are helping changing the world that we live in into a better place.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about today's episode, Zeph, because today we have Daphne Dixon, the co-founder and co-president of Live Green City, a 501c3 organization that is supporting the live green lifestyle and economy. So welcome to the show, Daphne.
Welcome.
So we want to know who you are. We want to hear your whole life story from start to finish. No, I'm just kidding. We do want to know where you're from, what your background is, and just kind of fill us in on some of those blanks.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you both so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm excited to share my whole life story. I thought we only had a half hour. I don't know. I think I'm going to need more time to share the whole life story, but I'll kind of get to it. So I live here in Connecticut now, but I'm actually a native Californian, and grew up in Sacramento, the land of droughts and fires and floods and things. So, as a little kid, you become very aware that the environment is a very unpredictable, uncontrollable force that you need to respect and understand and learn and appreciate. It's nothing that you have really any control over. So, as a small child, we had this terrible drought, and I saw all the lawns go dry, and people couldn't wash their cars, and the dam was going dry and the river ran dry. Not so different than it is all the things that are going on now. Yeah. But it had a real profound effect on me. And I understood from a very young age that we really need to be careful of our natural resources and to really protect them. So I grew up in Sacramento, like I said, and I lived there till I was 18, and then I moved down to Los Angeles and attended and graduated from UCLA. I don't know, did you guys know that LA is really a desert?
Yeah.
It feels like it sometimes. I believe you.
The golf courses are trying to lie to you, but yeah.
It's a desert. And so, a good year, LA gets 12 inches of rain. Well, gosh, we can get that in a weekend, It's a desert. So all those beautiful plants, have you guys been to LA?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you see how everything's beautiful and growing? That's all because people just water. So but I lived in LA for a while, and again, so that's a desert. So
right.
I just again was really took in that whole idea of there's only so many people that can fit on this planet. There's only so many resources, and I always wanted to do something to help educate, to help be part of the solution, just to kind of help get us from here to there, so that in 100 years. People are still video chatting or doing whatever they're doing on computers.
So would you probably, sorry, but I just, while I still have that idea in my head,
yeah.
To ask this, so would you say that, your background is really the driving force behind your entrepreneurial journey with the green, living green theme, green towns, green drinks? Because I know I've networked with you for quite a bit, and being in the green economy scene, would you say that really is what drove you to start, all these organizations and the work that you do?
Are you trying to get me to get to the point?
No, not really, but I just want to hear the story because I know there's a lot of green that we're talking about, and one of it is green drinks, and some of folks might already be thinking that I'm on some kind of a green drink. I'm halfway there.
Well, I have a green mug, but
Yeah, I have
so
some green.
yay. So let me get to it. What I do is a very strong heart mission, as they call it. So I mean, I feel like my purpose in life is to educate people about sustainability and to try to do everything I know how to do to help create a healthier planet. So as you can tell, I'm very tied to it emotionally. It's not a job for me. It's something. It's a life purpose. So I moved here to Connecticut 15 years ago. I thought I was going to be here about 7 years, and then moved back. As it turned out, I didn't move back, and I realized at that point I was probably going to stay here for a while. And so I thought, you know what? If I've moved here to Connecticut all the way from my hometown, my home state, I'm going to do something that's very meaningful to me and hopefully meaningful to the state and to the country and to the world. So I was sort of looking at what to do, and I ended up taking a Master Gardener class at the Bartlett Arboretum. The Master Gardener program is a national program that's run through extension classes all across the country. And it was in those classes that I became really inspired to start my first I had businesses before in LA, but my first company here in Connecticut. And what I realized was, as I was taking this Master Gardening classes, I was making all these mistakes. I was doing all these things that I was making a lot of mistakes that I didn't know I was making. Mm-hmm. So what my point is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And I thought I was a really responsible gardener, and I found out I was not.
It's amazing how disconnected we are as a society from the natural world. I mean, most people don't know. I mean, I'm even guilty of it. I don't know what season things grow. I mean, when you live in a world where everything is always ever present, you
Right.
become totally disconnected from the natural cycles of everything. So do they teach xeriscaping? Is that kind of...
They teach a lot of things, but like the one thing I realized is I did not plant all native plants. I mean, do you guys plant native plants these days? You know, do you have it?
Not really.
How do you even know what's native? I mean,
Exactly. There you go. There you go. Thank you.
So I'm going to try to get to the point, otherwise Steph is going to have to... so, kind of going on about this, but so I started a company called Conscious Decisions to try to help bring people together, to bring together businesses, community leaders, community organizations together in a room so that people could talk to each other and learn the things they didn't know. So back in 1989 in London, there was this fellow who was a very forward-thinking green tech guy, very smart, and he was doing all kinds of wonderful things. And him and his friends used to meet at this pub called the Slug and Lettuce. It's a chain over there in London. They would meet at the Slug and Lettuce, and they would talk about green tech and all the things they were doing. And they saw some guys at the end of the bar that they kind of knew but kind of didn't, and they wanted to get to know them, so they bought them beers, and then they all got together and started talking. They started talking about how they were going to change the world and do all these wonderful projects. They had such a wonderful time that they agreed to meet every month at the same time at the same place. Awesome. So they could change the world. Wow. That is how green drinks started, because they were drinking and talking about green. Yeah.
You know, the first time I attended Green Drinks, and I told people so Green Drinks is really a networking group for business folks who are really interested in this green scene. And when I went, I was trying to get a friend to go with me to attend one of your events, Daphne, and they said like, wait, do they just serve green drinks over there? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, my first trip. So yeah, that was fun.
So they're really amazing, and so there's green drinks all over the world.
In Seattle, I've been in Seattle, so
yeah. So I started doing the green drinks, and so that was one thing, and then one thing led to another, and I got into partnership and started Live Green Connecticut, which is a nonprofit 501c3, and we do a huge event every year in Norwalk. We get over 5,000 people. And the driving force behind Live Green Connecticut, what we try to do is we try to invite people who aren't necessarily that conscious of green. We try to have like really yummy food and fun things for kids, and we have pony rides and things. And we try to just get like mainstream people to come so that they come to the event, and then while they're there enjoying the family time and good food and stuff, they can learn about geothermal and recycling and solar panels and all those kinds of things.
So you're not trying to just preach to the choir. You're trying to just find people who don't even know about it.
Right.
Is that a thing? Do people, now it seems like green, everything is everywhere, right? It's a way to market your business. It's now trendy to be green. Are you finding that there are a lot of people that are somehow out of the loop on even the whole notion of trying to be more environmentally conscious, or do most people know about it, they just don't know how to get involved with it?
I think yeah, that's a good question. I think more to the latter. I think there was a big push about 7 or 8 years ago. I don't know what exactly the catalyst was. Maybe it was that the economy sort of fell apart and people lost their jobs. That's kind of a crazy time, and there was a lot of businesses that started up then. There was a lot of greenwashing, a lot of confusion and stuff. But I would say in the last couple of years, what I've noticed is there's the businesses that really do have green products and really are changing. That segment of the market, I feel from my experience, is really increasing. And to your point, a lot of companies now have a sustainability director. They're greening their supply chain, and they're understanding and realizing that to be profitable, a lot of times the smartest way to do it is through the newer technologies and sustainable technologies. Xerox, GE, all the large corporations have if you look at their websites, they have a very strong sustainability stance, and they are working with other companies. Frito-Lay is a great example. So people would think, oh my gosh, Frito-Lay, how could you even have them as a Live Green Connecticut sponsor? How could you even, fathom that they're a green company? Well,
bags, right? That's how they got started. They started with the bags, the bags.
Yeah.
What I noticed with Frito-Lay, so I don't know if it's big in Seattle, Sandra, but there was one time I walked into, I can't remember whether it's Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or one of these, more conscious supermarkets, and I went in and I was like, this is this product by Frito-Lay, and it says when you hold it back it sounds a little bit very loud because is that not the traditional sound of the crispy bags, but it was a little bit like high pitched, and I was like, why is this bag making this like a really high pitched sound? And it says on the back, this is Frito-Lay's, and it says on the back, it says the bag is I don't know the exact sentence or phrasing, but it says to the fact that this bag, the reason it sounds the way it does is because it's a recyclable bag. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, and that was an example of what Frito-Lay is doing.
Well, and so they're trying to, they do that with their packaging, and then I don't know how many times you see a Frito-Lay truck on 95, but they're all over the place delivering all those chips. But what they do is they green their delivery fleet. So they've got thousands of vehicles across the country, but they have a huge percentage of their vehicles dedicated to either being electric vehicles or natural gas.
Wow.
It's a big issue.
I didn't know that they're up to that level.
Oh yes, they're because and one of the reasons they do it is it saves them money.
Correct.
Because and so
you gotta make that the incentive for a lot of people, right? Like they're not really interested if it's going to cost more.
Absolutely.
But they'll convert once they realize that it not only is it more sustainable, but it's more profitable.
Yeah.
And they want to sustain those profits.
Well, that's one of our tenets, with Live Green Connecticut. We have sort of 2 rules we live by. When it comes to the actual festival, our motto is where green meets mainstream, because we really want to come together. But on our other sort of theme is Live Green is where economics drives sustainability, because at the end of the day, it really only works if it's financially viable. And so another thing that Frito-Lay does is, and this is like a huge cost savings, and this is what it all comes down to. It has to save money. It's all, you got to make a business case for everything with green, is that they actually have solar panels on some of their trucks,
Okay.
and then they have another device, because, especially in our cold winters, what the truckers will have to do sometimes is they would have to idle their vehicles all night to keep the trucks running warm so that they don't freeze. If it's 0 degrees out, you need heat. But they have been working with a company that has a new technology that is able to have heaters in their trucks that keep them really toasty warm without running the engines.
That's great.
And how much fuel does that save?
Right.
Yeah, that's great. And one thing, and I think what you're doing in that green scene is really, truly awesome. So here's kudos to you, right? So because sometimes, it takes one person to initiate it and get a community going behind. And I think you've pretty much accomplished that in Live Green, Connecticut. But what I think is amazing is how you get people to congregate to come together, even they're not into the green, they're not aware of being green yet or how to live green, but just attending events like this can be, can probably inspire somebody, who thinks of a product, a green product that can help the environment. Just from your networking within the green drinks community, Daphne, this is one question I just kind of am interested to find out. How do you think the green drinks community and the Live Green community can help individuals or folks out there who are social entrepreneurs, because there's a lot of them right now, who are thinking about starting up enterprises that are pro-green? Do you have any thoughts about that? I mean, what's your experience?
I have a little story. I hope it's on point, but actually this gathering, or this, like you say, you get people together in a room and you never know what's going to happen. So this is one story that I'm particularly fond of. So is there some feedback here? Or?
Just a little bit. It's just
Yeah, you're fine now. I can hear you.
All right. So at our festival at Live Green, Connecticut, we had an organization there called Sustainable America, which is a national nonprofit that's located in Stamford, Connecticut. We had Leo Serino, who's the president of the Westport Electric Car Club.
okay.
I don't know if you're going to know him, but he's amazing.
Okay.
And then we had a company called Ituros, which is a family-owned business in Norwalk that has sold appliances for 45 years. So we had Ituros there at Live Green, Connecticut, because they sell a lot of Energy Star appliances, and he's a local business. So the owner of Ituros got to talking with Leo Serino of the Westport Electric Car Club, and Tony was like, well, what can I do to be greener? What can I do to have an impact? And because of the conversations that he had with Leo and with Sustainable America, Tony at Ituros ended up putting in a charging station in his parking lot at Ituros.
Cool.
So, and he was able to do that with the help of getting information from Sustainable America and Leo on how he ended up getting a grant. So the whole thing didn't even cost him a penny, cost him nothing. And now there's an electric charging charger in his parking lot. He would have never done that, he told me, if he hadn't come to Live Green, Connecticut and met those guys.
Oh, awesome.
That's not exactly a business case for somebody starting an adventure or anything. But that's how change happens. Is you get one person talking to another. They're like, well, what do you do? What do you do? And then all of a sudden, Tony has a charging station in front of his store. So now when people come to buy an appliance, they see that charging station.
That's true.
And how good is that? How cool is that? That awareness, and then he's part of this new infrastructure of charging stations. So. It's a regular mainstream kind of store, and that's the kind of thing that really excites me, is when you have what people would think of as a traditional store with something that is really not traditional, such as a charging station.
It's a great story. Sandra, I just want to ask you quickly, because I know Seattle's a pretty active green scene too, right? Have you been involved or have you attended any of the green drinks in Seattle?
Yeah, so I've been once or twice. For some reason, I've had a really challenging time staying in the loop of when they happen. Around here, I guess you're supposed to add them on Facebook, and it took them almost a year to allow me to see what was going on. So that was just like a little bit frustrating because it's definitely a community I want to be a part of. And you know, my business is applicable to what their mission is, right? So if a bunch of people are using me to run their errands, I'm taking that many cars off the road every single time. So if I have a small company that I'm working for and all 16 of their employees need me to go to Costco for them, I'm saving those 16 trips. Like, that's something substantial. That does add up when you can do that on a bigger scale. And so I've been really, like, Green Drinks is great. It's definitely a community that people are really excited about. It's really popular in Seattle to go green. I mean, we have Teslas everywhere. Tesla charging stations everywhere. I don't know if you guys are, I mean, you guys are familiar with the Tesla car, right?
Yes.
Oh, they're beautiful. We have, at the car rally, we have about 20 of them there.
Yeah, so one of the coolest things about Teslas is that now the supercell charging stations are splattered across the country. And right now it's actually free to recharge your car at these Tesla power stations. So Tesla, if you own a Tesla, granted you need the $100,000 or so to buy a Tesla, but if you have one, it's actually the cheapest way to get from coast to coast. You can actually get from the West Coast to the East Coast for free in a Tesla. So these kinds of ideas are, very cool. I mean, Seattle is all about being green. You see, for how little sun we are supposed to be getting, you see a lot of solar panels everywhere. It's definitely something that everyone wants to kind of slap onto their business mission, is that they have some kind of green component to what they do. Which, again, you know, I kind of brought up earlier, is that it's kind of a trendy thing to do to be marketable, right? This is something people want to see in businesses, is that you're conscious about your footprint. And so I'm really curious, you know, how you can, and maybe you can shed some light on this, Daphne, like, how do you take it from being something that, okay, cool, we'll put this on our name because, you know, that's what people want to see from us. How do you get people to really wholeheartedly integrate green intentions with the company, right? Because it's only going to be trendy for so long. Eventually, we're going to get to a point where, hopefully anyways, we're a little bit more comfortable with our footprints. How do we make this last? How do we make this, you know, part of the integrity of a company?
That's a great question. And I think what was happening 7 and 8 years ago was that when all these green things were coming along and different ideas and people wanted to be more green, it cost more money. It cost more money to go green. So there was a premium on anything that you wanted to do. If you wanted a green house, if you wanted, you know, greener food or whatever, everything costs more. And the wonderful thing that's happening now is that there's a lot of things people can do and companies can do to be more sustainable that actually save them money. So in some cases you have
an issue. That's what gets people excited about it, is that it becomes more economical.
Yeah. So like one of the programs that happens all over the country for consumers is having a home energy assessment done on your house. So here in Connecticut, we have a really great program, Home Energy Solutions, and it costs about $99, and you have a technician come in. It's funded by the ratepayer-funded thing, so it only costs $99. You have a technician come into your home. It's pre-approved, and they do a blower door test, and they do all these. They insulate. They caulk up all your holes in your walls, and they do all these things for $99. And because of all the little things that they do within this home energy assessment that they do, all the little services that they provide, you get that $99 back plus another, you know, depending on the size of your house, another $150 or so in the cost of heating your home.
Yeah.
You know, So you're saving, the best energy is energy you never use.
Right.
So if you have a more insulated home, that's like a great thing. And so that's, and what's great, another great thing about these programs is it helps save energy, but then the more people that do it and the more companies that offer this service, those are great jobs.
Right.
So you're developing more jobs that support this whole sustainability market.
Well,
So,
they'll be around for a while because it's not like they're going to have to switch their practices again soon. I mean, that's what's frustrating to me, to watch companies that, have the ability to transfer to more sustainable practices, but they don't want to yet because they don't have to yet. And so it's like, as a business owner, I'm looking at these, you look at oil companies that if they wanted to invest in solar or hydro or geothermal or whatever, they're not really choosing to do that yet because they don't have to. They're still making so much money off of oil. Why would we switch? So for someone like me, it's frustrating because I would love to see them take the initiative, because it's not like they're losing money. It's not like they're going to be removing jobs. Why not create more jobs now that are actually going to be good for the next 150, 200 years so that people can get really skilled at that?
Right? Just a reminder for those companies out there.
Right. I have an opinion on this.
There you go.
I think the other issue with change, with anything, is that there's always a fear factor.
Yeah,
so people are afraid to change, and I think I'm going to make a sweeping, generality here. Yeah. But I think, like I said, I'm originally from California. My cousin lives in Seattle. I'm on the West Coast a lot. I think it's easier. I think culturally, I think people on the West Coast are just a little bit more open to these kinds of changes, and I think it's a little tougher back here on the East Coast for people to get around some of these changes, especially with these in this very cold climate where they're just used to, the oil and that whole infrastructure. And if you have an oil company, you're one of these local companies that delivers oil to the houses, it's got to be kind of a scary thing. A lot of companies are family-owned businesses, and they've been around for a long time, and they don't really have a choice. I mean, they've had their business, they have their customers, they have their oil and so what are they going to do? That's
I'm thinking like bigger scale, the big decision makers. That's why people like Elon Musk, again, coming back to Tesla, are so important. I mean, he's building Solar City out there on the East Coast. He's looking at the government right now saying, you guys aren't investing in solar like I think you should. Tell you what, I'll build it up now, so when you need it, it's ready. Instead of waiting until we're in this disaster mindset to get it going. I mean, I understand mom and pop shops, they're in a position where they have to kind of just go with what's happening. They have to do their best. It's the big decision makers that really, I think, have this responsibility, given the reach that they have.
There's a lot of people that are doing that. Like Tesla, Ford is another company. I mean, they've invested a gajillion dollars in their technology and EVs, and they're really most of the car manufacturers have sunk a lot of cash into trying to develop these EVs because they know that's where it's going. And even though they're really not making any money on those EVs, most of them right now, maybe breaking even, they know that that's the technology that they have to invest in. So we're in a sort of an awkward period of time. The cart before the horse, with the, what do you do? You build the cars, do you build the charging stations? So it's a very awkward time for the automobile industry. You have to push it out there, but it's, it's going to take a little time. And then there's always the argument, do we go with EVs? What's the best fuel of choice? Is it natural gas? Is it electric? Electric does have its own problems.
Away from cars. I mean, cars as they are kind of wasteful, but that's a whole other conversation. I know that we're running out of time here.
No, we're running out of time, but this is I always like to talk about the green part because there's a lot of information out there. You just need to know who you're hanging out with. So I'm glad that we're able to get Daphne on the show because there is a lot of information. If you have green drinks in your town, go out there and meet those folks who are networking in the green. It's not they're serving any green drinks, okay? It's just a community of people, of folks who are
Sometimes I do.
Yeah, right. Don't say that they don't ever.
yeah, that's right. So I know we need to kind of quickly wrap up, but I just before we go, maybe in under 1 minute, Daphne, can you tell us, if you're looking to expand beyond Connecticut?
Yeah. Yeah. So our plan is to have Live Green Connecticut be the trusted source for the state, to have, resources for municipalities, for businesses, and for community members, and a network that serves all three of those sectors. So this is our year where we're really building out our new sites and really trying to connect those three sectors and really be Connecticut's resource. And then beyond that, we're looking at a project which is national in scope to have a network that serves the country and to do events that bring together municipalities with green businesses and community leaders in strategic communities across the country, Seattle, of course, being one of them.
Yay! So, hey, folks, we're running out of time, but I want to make sure that you all get some of our contact information. So if you have any questions, because there's a lot of questions about when it comes to living green, the green scene, the green economy, just being green, consciously green. So, Daphne's a great resource, and that's why we invited her to be on the show. But I just want to give her the opportunity, and also Sandra here, to share their contact information. Should you need to contact them, you'll have their information. Go ahead, Daphne.
Sure. Well, if anybody has any questions about anything to do with sustainability in Connecticut or beyond, you may reach me by phone at 203-536-4695. And our website, which is it's a little bit beta right now, so it's not completely up to where but it will be in about a month. But our website that you can continue to check in on is livegreenct.org. And I would like to invite you all to come to Live Green Connecticut Family Festival September 19th and 20th.
If we're in town, if we're in Connecticut, right? So
Yes.
Sandra, go ahead.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm Sandra Firestein. I'm the owner of Pursuit of Seattle. I assist career-driven millennials in the pursuit of happiness. What that means is I take things off your plate so you can spend more time on the things that just make you really happy. You can find more information about my business at pursuitofseattle.com. We also have a meetup group, which is meetup.com/pursuitofseattle. If you want to get in touch with me personally, this is my Twitter and Instagram handle. I'm also on Facebook. I love talking to people. I love learning about new perspectives. Oh man, while we're on the topic of green, I love learning of different ways to make green. It's something that I really strive to incorporate in what I do, and I know there's so many approaches, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, there you go. And, folks, for some of you out there who probably are just tuning in to our show for the first time, our show is all about getting guidance, inspiration, and helping lifestyle entrepreneurs get results in their business and their life, and we love the fact that if you're a social entrepreneur and you're paying it forward to make this world a better place, write to us. You might be on our show because we'd love to hear a story. So if you're pretty new and you're wondering where you should be watching our shows, so you can go to www.entrepreneurs.soar.com, and there's a tab right here that says web shows, and if you pull it down, all our past episodes are housed on our blog page for Creative Chat Cafe, and the shows are at every Wednesdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so you'll need to check your local time zone. And every first Wednesday of the month is a 60 minutes live broadcast with our cast, and we usually like to feature some sort of a social story, mission, and stuff like that, all the good stuff. And here's, we're talking about community that is making changes in the world. So the new way to do that is let's get social. So here's our Facebook information. Facebook, you look for Creative Chat Cafe, and Google Plus Community, we have post-show conversations where we may not share it during the show, or we have some additional posts. Maybe we get post the show, we'll share it in that space. And here's our Twitter handle, which is @CChatCafe. Please do tweet with us. And here's our YouTube channel, Entrepreneurs That Soar produces the show, so you can go to the Entrepreneurs That Soar YouTube channel to catch up on all past episodes. That's a playlist for Creative Chat Cafe. And here's again our hashtag, hashtag CCC Time to Hang Out, or hashtag CCC, I'm sorry, hashtag Creative Chat Cafe, the special hashtag for the month of April, because we're doing this green theme, right? As you know it, is hashtag green biz. So again, Twitter handle is at CChat Cafe. So it's been a great informative session, I think. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank my co-host. Woohoo! Thank you, ladies, for joining me on the show today for celebrating the Earth Day month. This is our last episode in April, and I thank you for joining us, Sandra Feinstein, all the way from Seattle. Woohoo! And also Daphne Dixon from Live in Connecticut. Ladies, it's been an honor, pleasure. Thank you so much. Let's raise our marks. Till next time. See you next week. Bye.